Right, man, I just start talking the moment.
Oh,
All right, so big up, Wagwan, where you deal with, where you dep on up top blessings. You don't know how it go. There, for another one again. You see me? And this time we have a scumbag in the place because he's a Chelsea fan. What you say to me, Reynolds?
I mean, I don't know. It kind of odd. It kind of ironic. Kind of ironic. So the person who support our side with over 100 charges, I say that, but we move.
Well,
We,
it's just alleged. So, who knows? By the end of all of this, we could be found innocent and it's 115 trophies we are talking about. And, that's all I
enough,
have to say about that.
enough criminals get away with stuff still. But
Yeah. And
it is what
also,
it is.
innocent people also get convicted as well. But, that's how it goes sometimes. But as you guys can see in the title, Mateo Kovacic will be a Manchester City player next season. And I wanted to get the perspective of someone who has been watching this player for the last couple of seasons and basically see what we can expect at Manchester City from this player. So,
Mm.
what I do want to ask you is, what are your thoughts on Kovacic's entire time at Chelsea?
Um, my thoughts on Kovacic overall. So I think Kovacic I think he's a good player. He's a good player that you want. I don't think he's a player that you expect to take away games though. I think he's a solid player that you can have in a team that can rely on. Like sometimes he can start if there are other good players around him. But if you want him in a team, especially as a backup, I think he's good. But in the case of Man City, I think Pep is a manager who can make average players seem great. And how he plays, style of play, how he plays, expectations that he warrants from, that he gives off for them. Um, he knows when Pep purchases players, he knows why he purchases players. He knows there's a reason and the most time he'll purchase players for a good reason and they will succeed. So with Kovacic now, even the other day, me and my brother were talking, we're discussing, we had a disagreement in terms of Kovacic. Because my brother think that Kovacic's time at Chelsea was was
Underwhelming.
very underwhelming. Yeah, he thought that actually, yeah, he thinks that Kovacic over is a like his time is up right now, and
Oh,
he
like
wants,
him finished.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
thinks he's not the player that you want. He thinks he should be focusing on other players now, especially since he's getting up in age right now. He's at 30 right now, right?
No, I think he's 29, and I think him just turned 29 actually.
Kovacic. Okay, yeah, 29. So he might have one more year till he reach 30.
Hmm.
So he's getting up there in age now. And I mean, I haven't seen, to be honest, like in his time at Chelsea, I haven't seen anything world class from Kovacic.
Fair
He's been
enough.
good, but I haven't seen any world class thing from Kovacic. I've said to my brother though, when I disagree with, I said to him that you can bet that if Kovacic goes to Man City, you'll probably see you'll probably see the Kovacic that we wanted to see at Chelsea.
So the thing is, watching Kovacic over the past couple of years at Chelsea, I personally believe he was your best midfielder for a decent amount of time. Well, that is with the fact that Kante has been in and out of the team with injuries, and I know
But
he
yeah,
has had his injury concerns as well throughout that time. But for like his for Kante's long periods of not being in the team, I think Kovacic was the player that definitely stepped up more so than Jorginho. And I like his technical quality. And what I see a lot of people talking about is, oh, Manchester City gone go take Chelsea's best midfielder now, like, and probably go put him on the bench. I think like playing a rotational role would suit him at City because you've seen like at Chelsea he gets used so much. In play basically every match that he is fit, because like I said, he is a quality player. Or that's my belief again. Let me just say that. So if he is playing a more rotational role, he'll have less strain from that, and I think his injuries will reduce. So I think that will actually suit him, and him can play at him best more regularly at Manchester City.
yeah, I think. looking over it though, and I think that if Kovacic was at City at the time throughout all these years, you'd have been getting more praises. You would have been getting more you would have been getting more praises in the media for his performances rather than being at Chelsea. And I don't know. I think Chelsea has been very. We've been very like players at Chelsea have been very unlucky to go through the type of managers that we've been through. I mean, Kovacic. When you all right, first Kovacic went through Sarri. I think probably Sarri fits Kovacic more
S-
position based.
Sorry, signed him.
No, but I said he fits him.
Oh, okay. Which manager signed him?
But I think he might be Sarri. Let me see. Um,
If it was sorry, then that is a lot of managers him gone through. Because I personally thought it was only
he
three.
was there since Sarri.
Wow, so that's at least four different long-term managers him gone through. That's crazy.
See, he was there since 2018, right? 2018 January. I think it was
Mm.
January 2018 that we took him on loan. No, August 2018. We took him on loan. Let me see. Sorry, when was Sorry at Chelsea? Where was there when Sorry was there?
Yeah,
Yeah, Sorry
2018.
started at
Yeah,
2018.
because
Yeah,
18, 19, I think
yeah,
that was the season when I get the 6-0.
yeah.
So, and that was definitely Maurizio Sarri. So I remember that for real. I remember when
Sorry
Aguero scored a
sign
hat
him.
trick.
Sorry sign him. Sorry sign him.
Okay, yeah.
I
That's
remember
one
nothing
about
else
that.
from that season except the Europa League victory. But when I remember the league, that whenever really, you know,
No.
the
I will
Europa.
never forget that because I remember seeing Aguero miss a sitter at the back post. Like ball goes straight across, no keeper in front of him, and I'm like, oh yeah, easy goal, 1-0, and he missed it. I was like, what is? And then like 5 minutes later, far outside of the box, and just clap it, kept a no chance, and just
those
back of the net.
those days were under Sorry, and that at that time of the season, because we started well with Sorry, and at that time of the season, I think it was the second half of the season,
Mm,
and Sorry was just he was what's the word, stubborn. He was stubborn.
mm,
Same simple 4-3-3 formation, and the same substitution every game, taking out Kovacic for Barkley or taking out Barkley for Kovacic. Every game, the man would do the same thing in the second half, and teams knew what he was playing. It was all possession, no goals.
mm.
Like limited amount of goals being scored, like no chances created, just possession, possession, possession. And you could see it when we played Man City. Um, team was just there wasn't any fight,
From
and
him go get Higuain, that tell me same them never interested in making on win anything. And
Higuain was off the Remember Higuain had two great seasons before that.
yes, and Higuain is a player what kind. I mean, know this is tangenting a little bit, but we'll get back on track soon. Higuain is a player I have mixed judgments on him because I rated him for his time at Juve. For those who don't know, when Tevez left City to go to Juve, he was still one of my favorite players. So I was watching Juventus and watching him there.
And
And
Napoli too.
and since then I've been watching Juventus over the seasons as well. I know at Napoli he was a different beast. And he was still good at Juve, but after his stint at Chelsea and the fact that him start over Aguero in that World Cup match, I'll never ever forget that terrible, terrible performance where what will make Argentina get knocked out. Now I ever forgive him for that. But and you also had Morata. I think Morata was also under Sarri, right?
Um, Morata, I think so. Yeah, I don't think Sarri signed him though. But
The thing is, I never rated Sarri because of his stint at Juve. I think him was a little bit overrated. Yes, him did win the league, but at that time, them did win the league every year anyways. And it was kind of expected, kind of like Bayern Munich, that them go win the league again.
mm,
So I never really have as much ratings for him as Allegri would did the year before him, and then he get sacked the same year, got Chelsea. I want to finish that year the fourth. Just
wait, sorry, with sorry.
yeah,
I think it was fourth.
Yeah, so that's just me personally still, but I know a lot of people love the football when play. The football they did good, fairly good, but I don't
Sorry,
know. Never
score
really
was
rating that much.
it was possession. Boring, boring. It was all right, but it was boring. To be honest,
And
it was stubborn, and he didn't want to change his ways. Like he didn't want to change any he didn't want to do any test out any other type of formations. So
mm,
that's why he got the sack in the end. But back to Kovacic though,
yeah, I do want to ask you and Kovacic again. What would you say are like the best parts of his game?
the best part of his game is his ball carrying ability. The ability to carry the ball forward from in his own half to the next half. And I would say he can make passes as well. This last season that just
Hmm.
passed, he was underwhelming in terms of his passing for me. In crucial moments, like, the whole team was bad overall. But I think, like based on what I observed, he wasn't at his best in his passing last season. But his ball carrying ability is good. But what I can say is Chelsea were in a very tough time with having midfielders who cannot shoot.
Mm.
Kovacic, Jorginho, and Kante were midfielders or key midfielders that cannot consistently shoot.
And you mean over the past couple seasons or last season specifically?
When not last season, like over the past 5 years, over the past 5 seasons,
Mm.
since Kovacic come and Jorginho come, they have been they have been playing together. Jorginho, for his life, cannot shoot. The only goal that Jorginho scored this season was a own goal from Martinez. A shot he took that hit the bar. And usually the only goals that Jorginho usually scores are,
Oh, and that was at Arsenal, right?
yeah, Arsenal.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that match.
Goals he usually scores are
Disgrace, man.
penalties.
And hope Villa do something for me in that match there, and the man them go at 2-0 up or something like that. Or them definitely that lead at 1 point and then them just flop it.
I mean, Villa does have a knack for losing two goal leads.
Yeah, man. Like it's like Martinez just remember back in them Arsenal days and was like, I can't allow this to happen. And just bail them out.
Just like how them bailed you out last season, last
Hey,
2022.
don't disrespect Gundogan. That was all Gundogan carry job. Him come up with the goods and him bring me over the line. Them never give with that. Trust me, we have to go and take that.
Uh, but brother, Jorginho penalty merchant, 6 yard pass merchant, bro. Jorginho used to make passes like he used to make them Fabregas type of passes like one time per season. One pass breaking defensive line per season. The man used to make.
And
Yo,
they make the highlight reel.
and then Kovacic never really give me any standout passes to break line. When see Enzo come to Chelsea, every game I see Enzo making passes trying to break the defensive line. Every game I can see the effort Enzo making, like it's like quarterback passes the man doing to try and break the defensive line. Bro, Kovacic over the years never really saw that. See one or two times. I saw it this season, I think, but it wasn't anything phenomenal. Worse, he couldn't shoot. How many goals Kovacic scored at Chelsea? I can't even look. Amount of goals Kovacic
So
scored at Chelsea.
in his time at Chelsea, Kovacic played 221 games, scored 6 goals, and had
So
15
six
assists
overall,
registered.
four in the Premier League overall, bro.
Yeah. And funny enough, because the one that I can and recall now was a banger. Like against Liverpool, I think gonna draw that 2-2. Still one of the best matches that we can recall in a recent memory. Like outside of the box and him just clip it, go off the post, pass Alisson, and it was like,
Yeah,
yo, bad man goal still.
bro. And then Kante, no, Kante can't like Kante will take a long shot. Will score a long shot, like one long shot a season, and I look. Probably most of it either deflected or Sometimes we catch the keeper out, but rather three midfields out like the triplets we can't shoot. Like
So
the three ugly
when
triplets.
when we were linked to Kovacic, I was fairly happy because I was thinking, you know what, this is a really good type of player. Like this is the type of player I would target. Now, no disrespect to him, but as a like not as a bench player, but as a rotational player, which kind of the same thing. But like a player that I'm looking at as if our starter is unavailable and him have to step in for like 3-4 games, I'm not necessarily worried. But at the same time, like if he's not starting and he's coming off of the bench to affect the game or change it up a little bit, I would still be happy with that option. So I was fairly happy with that interest in Kovacic. But now that Gundogan has left, the circumstances kind of change a little bit. He might end up being a starter, which I still kind of doubt, but there's a possibility. And we might be looking at a different dynamic in a Gundogan replacement with Kovacic still within that pool of midfielders.
Mm. You see, I don't know if Kovacic will be the type of player that you want to rely on to come on and snatch a victory for you. Honestly.
Not necessarily snatch a victory, but like affect the game differently. Say for example, hypothetically, um, so we have Roger CDM, we have KDB, and we have say Foden, right? But both of them, like Foden and KDB, pushing up forward, trying to get us a goal or create something, but we don't have control of the game because they're focused so much on transition. We could say, you know what, get a ball retainer like Kovacic in, make KDB focus on the creativity and running the transition, and then Kovacic focus on ball retention. We will keep up our possession and our pass accuracy as a team through a player like Kovacic being there on the field. I think he would have a good impact in our team in that type of role.
True, but I mean, one thing you shouldn't expect is for a Gundogan type player. Because Gundogan can play deeper in the middle. Like he doesn't. We also had that breakout season before, like right after they were calling Gundogan the flop. Even Man City fans and we were calling him flop and cussing him or whatever. Then he got to play false nine that time and he showed his attacking attributes, but he doesn't primarily play there like throughout his whole tenure at Man City. So you should not. They definitely don't expect that from Kovacic at Man City.
So the thing is with Gundogan,
Don't expect that. Don't,
when he wait, the thing is with Gundogan, when Gundogan just came to Manchester City, he was in this mold of what I'm expecting from Kovacic now. A tidy player, good on the ball, him can help us control games and help us retain the ball, right?
Mhm.
But I think in his second season, he ended up playing CDM, and then that was when time we win the league with 100 points, and then 2 years after that, because we went formidable year after that. The year after that, 1920, I had a Gundogan agenda personally, because I don't think he was doing anything like more than passing, and we had good pass accuracy with him on the pitch.
Mhm.
I didn't think he was doing much contributing to us winning games, and we didn't win the league that season. I'm pretty sure he would also look back at that as one of his poorest season in a Manchester City shirt. But that season that you mentioned, like you said, that brought out a different side of Gundogan where you see he could affect games from further up the pitch as well. We know that he could play deeper since he played in CDM in 17-18 season. And we know that he can play as a solid out and out eight. And now we know that he can play further up the pitch as well in that false nine position. So I don't expect that from Kovacic coming into the team. And right now, looking at both players, I don't think they're that similar in terms of like attributes. I do think that Kovacic can do 2 out of 3 though, which would be being that eight and drifting a bit deeper next to Rodri as that pivot player.
Mm. So you're saying you don't think Kovacic would have the Gundogan like attributes?
I think he will in certain aspects. So the 2 out of 3 that I was mentioning is, you have first phase of dropping deeper next to Rodri, the deepest of the three, little bit forward, being that link man in between the second and final third of the pitch, and also being that final third player, giving that final pass or finishing off the move to create a goal. So I think Kovacic can do the first two, but not necessarily the three. And definitely not the third one on the level of Gundogan, even if he was to contribute in that way.
You see, um, you have a lot of City fans in the comments.
Yep.
They also,
Big up to True City fan, my general. Anybody hasn't subscribed to his channel as yet, Ryan Manchester City content right here. And I'll add him link in the description as well for anybody who needs to find it. You can also find me over there from time to time. And he also goes again and says, Cover is a ball carrier and good in tight spaces, good passer. That's exactly what I'm expecting to see from him coming into the team. And I think that is the part of his game that most Manchester City fans are kind of looking forward to, if I was to say.
mm, okay. By the way, the City fans, I'm a Chelsea fan. If you're just tuning into the
Yeah,
live,
he's a scumbag. After that before that Champions League final, I didn't really have a problem with Chelsea fans and Chelsea on a whole, but after that final, man, no, 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 on that side.
easy.
And
Getting
the
on me.
funny thing is, aside from you, so much of the man them are Chelsea fans, bro. Manny, Neil, Zach, like I know so many Chelsea fans.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know much City fans to be honest. Not
Well,
to
you
sound
know me.
like that,
Don't
but
worry about it. You know me.
not to sound like that person, but I know more holograms. Seen more
All
holograms.
right. Okay, okay, brother. And we might touch on the Rice deal a little bit, but I don't necessarily want to speak on Rice today. We can save the majority of that for another video, but we can also get your thoughts on Rice a little bit later on. Um,
Yeah,
if
but
Rice signs, I'll be excited. It is a bit of an exciting signing, I can't lie,
Rice,
if we do get it over the line.
if Rice signs for City, that's the greed that they talk about in the Bible.
You know what? Let's touch on the Rice deal right now, as a matter of fact. Let's touch on the Rice deal right now, as a matter of fact. Let me get this
The
comment back
greed.
up, right? The thing is, we are looking at Rice as a Gundogan replacement, apparently, right? Um, I don't think that would so for this season, I don't think we have had a lot of options in midfield. It's really just been Gundogan, KDB, and Bernardo Silva. And yeah, that is a lot of quality, but in terms of numbers, that isn't a lot of numbers. Because if one of them is injured, or in the case of Bernardo playing on the wing as a latter part of the past season, then if we have one injury in that midfield position, then we're looking at playing somebody else out of position. So I was always thinking it would be good if we had one more body there as an option, as an alternative to come into the team in that role. And that's why I was excited by the Kovacic signing, because he is still a quality player. It's not like we're getting in an academy player who may or may not be ready, and we're taking a big chance on him coming into the team. So if Gundogan is no longer going to be here, he's already agreed a deal with Barcelona, apparently already signed as well, and we get in Rice as a replacement. I don't think that's necessarily greed from Manchester City. I think a lot of people look at their clubs doing bad business, no shade, and then see us doing good business and thinking we're being greedy. Our squad, I think, well, I don't need to tell you our squad is smaller than your squad, but if you look at a lot of other teams in the Premier League, our squad is one of the smallest. It's just packed with quality.
I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's true. That's true. Like quantity doesn't mean that like quantity is quality over quantity. Because quantity was the reason why Chelsea season was so bad. And honestly, with the Rice, I rather see Rice go to Arsenal because I don't think he'll win anything if he goes to Arsenal. I still don't think he'll win anything if he goes to Arsenal. Honestly, I rather see what he does at Arsenal. That rather than him just go to City, straighten City again. Like No, what?
All
What?
right. Well, firstly, let me just say, guys, we're 25 minutes into the video. Do me a favor, beat up the like button, show some love to the video, and also show some love to the channel and subscribe to the channel as well. Would have much appreciate if you could do both. And also, the link to Jordan's channel is in the description as well. Is the second link, so go in there, subscribe to Film channel as well, and show him some support. Um, you see the thing with Rice to Arsenal now. I was a lot more worried when they were linked with Rice and Caicedo. I was thinking, if you add Rice and Caicedo to this current Arsenal team, you're looking at a wicked team right here, and that's a very strong midfield if you add um Erdegaard as the third option there. Like that's kind of looking mad.
Oh,
But
yeah,
if they were to still get him now, and there are rumors of them losing Partey as well, if they make up like a direct swap between
yeah.
Partey and
I heard.
Rice, I'm thinking they're basically on the same strength level as they are in this current season.
Yeah, I heard they might lose party, but might not be to a club.
The Arsenal fan in the chat disagreeing with you here.
Yeah, I mean, party. You know,
Thanks for
party.
the league. Thanks for the league, by the way, Utah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Arsenal can afford Caicedo and Rice at the same transfer
Mm.
window. I mean, they can, but I don't think
Will.
Arsenal owners will open up the book because you see, Cranky just won a championship with Denver Nuggets
Hmm.
last year. He won a championship with the LA Rams, two different sports in two straight years, and he had a chance to win a championship with Arsenal this season. But guess which one? The odd one out had to be Arsenal,
And
and
it's funny because like he did have like an opportunity to better strengthen the team in January, but it's just typical Arsenal. It's like them look towards getting better and then them just pull back them hand last minute. Spend a little bit more money, Mudrik could have been an Arsenal player. You spend a little bit more money, you could have get Caicedo in January. But they didn't then decided to get Trossard for 20 something million, like 28 mil or 24 mil versus getting Mudrik for 100 mil. And they decided to get Jorginho for what, 15 mil or something like that versus
I
getting
thought
Caicedo for 80 mil. Hmm?
I think probably like 8 million to 8 to 12 million or so for Jorginho.
Yeah, so it's like them always looking for the cheaper alternative, and I don't think the players that they got were bad options or bad players because I think Trossard was definitely the best signing in the January window across all the teams. The impact of him coming with the Arsenal was definitely great, and I think Jorginho was a good player for the time of them have him so far. He hasn't been bad, so it's just that like it wasn't enough, and you
Yeah,
could tell that. And I think they also got Kivior as well, a
but at the
young
same
centre
time
back.
though, I think we should stop praising mediocrity and stop praising averageness. Yeah, he's not been a terrible player, but is Jorginho the player that comes to Arsenal and lifts them up to win the league? No, it's he might not be the one that you're. He might not be the one that um you're going to say that he costed Arsenal the title or whatever. But it's just a crazy coincidence that ever since he went to Arsenal, things just went downhill. Yeah,
Agent Jorginho.
so I don't think we should be saying like, oh,
I
that,
always thought these like that were so weird because I'm always ask Chelsea fans, who are your biggest rivals? I can never get an answer to that. Because Arsenal's biggest rivals are Spurs. Spurs' biggest rivals are Arsenal. And then Chelsea's kind of just there like the third wheel. Like, who is your biggest rivals?
I would say Chelsea's biggest rival is Arsenal, and it's between Arsenal and Tottenham because obviously they're London clubs. But Tottenham, you tell if Chelsea biggest rival is Leeds. Oh, your biggest rival is Tottenham, and Tottenham don't compete either. Tottenham and Leeds is the same thing. like zero trophies. So yeah,
Well, he also says that he doesn't think they lost the league by spending. They lost the league because of mismanagement. I mean, there were times throughout the season where some of your better players were not performing to their level for the majority of the season. Xhaka fell off at one point, Saka fell off at one point, Partey fell off at one point, and it was, I
body
mean,
fell off.
even Erdegaard fell off at one point, and he was brilliant for the majority of the season. So,
I mean,
I mean,
I have an excuse for Partey because he has external matters to focus on. But
we're
Saka,
not getting into that right here.
but Saka,
Yeah.
I don't know what Saka is. I
I
don't know
mean,
what.
that's where the mismanagement kind of comes in because he played mad. I think definitely played most games as a outfield player for Arsenal. I wouldn't be surprised if he had. And in them saying burnout, I thought one game a week was a benefit. So I don't know why am I burnout from playing one game a week. But hey, some man
Yeah,
just not built for the title challenge.
them say a prodigy, the next upcoming star. I get burnt out by playing one game a week. So imagine him start play Champions League.
None of that. Mir said this man world class, and Mir Saka, but Mir said this man world class, but this man never yet kick a Champions League ball yet. But yet still, City is not a big club when they never win the Champions League. Make it make sense, but want to get back on track to
I
Kovacic
mean,
though.
we still have an asterisk over the Champions League this season still. So until charges be cleared, we still have an asterisk over it.
Quick question before we done that. Can you tell me five of the charges or get charged for? Just
Um,
tell me five of them.
one of the charges, the proper sponsor.
Proper sponsor. What do
Yes,
you mean?
in terms of sponsoring yourself,
All
you know,
right.
financial fair play. Financial
Mm-hmm.
fair play. You're supposed to get a sponsor that's not a conflict of interest. A sponsor that's not supposed to be you giving yourself money, and it's shady dealing.
I'm pretty sure it's his brother that owns Etihad Airways though, not Sheikh Mansour.
But
So
it's shady dealings though, in terms of City getting sponsorships.
I mean, that is one of the charges, so I'll give you
Yes,
that. But I'm just saying, like, I don't see how the Premier League I will clamp down upon that as a shady deal when it's literally two different people do business. Yes, they might know each other outside of football and related in other ways, but in
That's
terms
not
of
a,
like
that's
football,
not
I
a,
don't think them necessarily
there's,
do anything
there's something
um
in
to
accounting
get
called
charged for.
there's something in accounting called arm's length transaction, and um what external investors, what stakeholders look for when looking at companies is arm's length. They will also look at arm's length transactions and whether they'll allow it as parts of revenue or expenses, right? And it has to be arm's length. Arm's length meaning it has to be something that's not close to the company, which will raise concerns over whether they're raise concerns over the validity of the transactions. So
There's also something in accounting. I don't remember the specific term used to describe it, but you are allowed to invest your own money in the business as capital, and then at the end of the financial period, withdraw that money. It will basically be the same dealings as a loan. So you loaning money into your own company and then repaying back yourself as a separate entity. But again, that's all business legalities and all of that. We'll see how the city legal team deals with all of that. But the reason why I asked you that question is, the title of 115 charges is what catch a lot of people's eyes, and a lot of them don't even go in to read a lot of the charges. A lot of them are under like an umbrella of the same thing. So them all basically related, but people just see it as 115 different charges. For example, like 40 of the charges are non-cooperation. So and we didn't cooperate with anything that the Premier League is charging us with. So we're obviously going to get a lot of non-cooperation charges. So when you say that sponsorship thing, we're not cooperating with that. That is a separate charge in itself. The
And
length of the grass, we never give them the rule of it for measure it. So that's a different charge in itself.
hold on. So you say um the charges were non-cooperative charges.
Huh?
It was non-cooperative charges, right?
Yeah.
Party charges.
And you know what funny? It's the same thing happened with UEFA because they had charged us and then we had went back to CAS and appealed it and CAS said, yeah, this is you can't charge them off of this. And we ended up getting a fine for non-cooperation because we never cooperate with any of UEFA's charges either. And that was the only thing we got fined for. So it's kind of like them a pull up to a house and it's like, yo, show me your documents. And we said, no. We are talking about, no, we're not do that. So at the end of the day, if you want to look on that as shady in itself, I can't blame you. Go right ahead. But like that necessarily doesn't mean that we do anything wrong though, by terms of fact. But like I said,
Yeah, obviously you have to prove it, right? If
and there's talks about Pep wages and Mancini's wages as well. We'll see all of that in a couple of years when the stuff get further on in the processing. But please, I want to get back to Kovacic because I think we tangent a little bit too far.
yeah,
And
so we count it a half Champions League for now.
no problem. We'll win it again next season, so nothing wrong. Do
All
you
right.
think there is a player in this current Manchester City team that you would compare Kovacic to or liken him to, aside from Gundogan? And if you can't tell me that, tell me a Premier League player or a Chelsea player
I
that you
wouldn't
would
even
like him.
compare Kovacic to Gundogan. Because Gundogan can shoot. Gundogan can shoot, and then Rodri can defend. Kovacic is like in between that.
Hmm.
Can't shoot, definitely can't shoot, and he's not the greatest. He's not a defensive midfielder, really. He's not really a defensive
And I
midfielder.
see people calling him a defensive midfielder, and I don't understand.
Yeah, he's not a defensive midfielder. So Rodri is what Kovacic wants to be. He can defend and he can shoot. But Rodri will take shot. Rodri is not
My
great.
Reginald play,
Bro,
Reginald laugh.
I don't know why Chelsea never. Why when we were going after midfielders, we don't go for a midfielder that clearly takes shots, bro. Bro, Kovacic, like I'd rather him pass the ball than take a shot.
Well, I think
A shot?
if you were to compare um year past Chelsea teams with other big six teams, I think you could see a bit of a similarity to Liverpool in the sense that them not really have goal scoring midfielders either. A lot of their goals come from them
Fabinho,
forward line, and that seems like what Tuchel wanted to work with.
if Fabinho has to take a shot, Fabinho will take a shot, and
He
Fabinho can
definitely will.
he can crack them. Even Keita, who was a flop, heavily injury laden Keita, Naby Keita, if when he will take a shot, he will take a shot. Naby Keita. And who else? Henderson, bro. Jordan Henderson. I think Jordan Henderson afraid
Yeah,
to
no
take a
man,
shot.
him did him that clap film shot them time too.
Bro, when it comes to taking a shot, when there's no other option and you need them to take a long shot, they'll take a long shot. And they have history of scoring long shots. Make Kovacic probably have like a one-time shot, like a one goal right at the edge of the box or something, or two. We can remember from the edge of the box what Kovacic have. Jorginho. Jorginho never have a outside of the box goal at Chelsea. Uh
But to be fair,
Kovacic,
Gundogan wasn't really a goal scorer until that season, where he went on
yeah,
that mad run, scored I think
because
13 goals from January to the
and
end of the season.
there was a reason why he was put into that position because he the qualities were known. And
I think it was more a case of him popping up in that space and then capitalizing. That brought it to Pep's attention that you know what, I can probably use this player in a different role. But
mm,
I mean, that does kind of speak to your point that Kovacic never really showed that side of him, so you
yeah,
wouldn't attribute it to him.
if I'm a manager, right, and I'm watching Kovacic play throughout the years, there's no way, there's no way I'm saying like, yo, let me just try Kovacic in a false nine. Let me see, let me see how Kovacic play in a false nine,
But if
bro.
you
Probably
told me you were going to put Gundawan Falls 9 in I'm first or second season, would I look on you like a madman still? That season before that, when me tell you saying did have a Gundawan agenda, that man for the whole season scored 1 goal and had 2 assists for the whole season. And him never did a defend. It's like him even did one defend, bro. It's like every time him lose the ball or we lose the ball upon transition, the man that just a walk or you see him turn back and I watch the whole thing transfer. I'm like, brother, we are gonna get scored pan. We are lose the match. Go and go do something. But yeah, you don't think there's a player you can or would compare Kovacic to?
um I would compare Kovacic to Fred
Mm,
from Manu. Yeah, that's a player I can compare him to. Cause
okay.
Fred,
Play style wise, not
yeah,
quality wise, right?
I mean, Fred, Fred, Fred can play like Fred. Original position was attacking mid for Shakhtar, but he's not that player they look forward to playing. Like, there's a reason why he's not playing attacking mid like that anymore. There's not much output in him. I think it's kind of. I mean, they're kind of different but similar. Like at the same time, in terms of what you can expect. Like Fred can shoot. Well, he
Mm-hmm.
can score goals. I mean, Kovacic, I don't know, but Fred, like recent times, I would say that's one that you could compare Kovacic with. Um, Also, because when I'm trying to compare them, I'm trying to look at if they can shoot as well. Like, if
So
there's
when you mentioned Fred, I was thinking, how would you compare him to like a James Ward-Prowse? Because I wouldn't necessarily call James Ward-Prowse a defender, and he doesn't shoot outside of set pieces either. So,
um yeah, James Ward-Prowse, I don't know. I wouldn't compare him to Kovacic. I think that's harsh to Kovacic, to
mm,
be honest. Because James Ward-Prowse, I don't think James Ward-Prowse has the same like the same play style as Kovacic. As in, James Ward-Prowse is more. I think he's more advanced than Kovacic. He's more involved.
really,
Yeah.
I genuinely thought he was always like a transitional type of player for Southampton. Like he would be in a pivot and then transitioning up the field with the ball to like create something with the rest of the team. Not necessarily like a Cam where his starting position is further up the pitch and then going on to affect. Because that it's similar to Kovacic, how I hear people calling James Ward-Prowse a CDM. I don't necessarily think I would call him a CDM per se because when I think of CDMs, I think Rodri, Fernandinho, Fabinho, them type of players here in that mold. I don't necessarily see James Ward-Prowse as that type of player. I think he's a little bit further forward, more like a all-rounded eight, and that's how I see Kovacic as well. And before anybody get mad in the comment section, I'm not saying Kovacic and James Ward-Prowse are the similar type of players. I'm just looking at comparisons that I can make between them.
Mm, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Modo really, I would really put them in the same category though. To be honest, Kovacic is unique. Is unique. Which other player? No, go through.
Fair enough.
Because Kovacic, like right now, as a player, he's a player that he doesn't defend, and he doesn't really give you attacking qualities either.
So what I hear from a lot of Chelsea fans that I listen to, they're saying that especially for this past season, it's like him head gone, like him not there mentally anymore. Kind of like him check out in a way.
Mm.
So things that you would see him do in previous seasons, he's not necessarily. like bringing that into his game now. So that's how do you what do you think about that?
Um, I mean, this season for sure, coach has been underwhelming, especially underwhelming for this season than previous seasons. But over the previous seasons, I think he was good in terms of his ball carrying play. But like he was good. He's good to have in a team. I would want him to stay in my team. I wouldn't want him
Okay.
staying as a crucial player though.
Because what I'm hearing now from a lot of Chelsea fans is yeah, him can go on. So that is kind of a little bit surprising. Like, really?
Yeah,
Like you
the reason
just
why the
let him
reason
go
why
25 mil?
yeah, the reason why I say only reason why it's so low is because he have 1 year left on his contract.
Mm.
He doesn't want to he doesn't want to sign an extension.
You remember when you signed Sterling? That was 1 year upon him contract. Just saying though, and I personally think we could have or should have gotten more from him because Sterling is a
Or from him?
quality player over the years.
Wait a second, you think you should have gotten more from him or for him?
More for him from Chelsea. I'll
There's
I'll take the deal
no
now,
way
but
bet-
like at the time I was like 45 mil for Raheem Sterling in our prime. Man at 26 turning 27.
I don't think he's
45 mil, that is
he had better.
crazy.
I think he had a. I think he's had better seasons than the season that we signed him, or the previous two seasons that were before we signed him. I don't even want to get back into the Sterling thing because I wasn't even that into us signing Sterling in the first place. I don't think he's somebody that will lead the team. I think he's good to have in his side, but I don't think he's the main player.
Just
He had
quickly on Sterling real quick.
he had good
I Yeah,
like
finish,
last
finish.
three games. In the last games of the season, he had a good run, but I don't think he's the main player though.
I didn't want to lose Sterling because for me personally, and this is a little bit sentimental, but he was one of my favorite players watching him at Manchester City. Like for the time that he was here, I think he was a brilliant player for us for the majority of his stay. Him definitely frustrating at times, and he had times where like his quality just fell off like a steep hill. But I do know, especially after the last season where he played, he was the one who crossed the ball in for Gundogan's first goal who started to come back against Villa. So stuff like that, we miss that in our team now, and that was something I've heard City fans complaining about for the first half of the season extensively. Like we don't have a player like Sterling anymore. A pacey. First of all, none of our wingers right now are pacey. The fastest one is Foden, and I wouldn't even say pace is one of his best attributes. And no right-footed winger aside from Grealish and then play on the left side. And you know what type of player he is. Nothing like Sterling. And he like a right winger that's pacey and right-footed. It's so hard if you look at the market right now. I don't know where we'll find another player in that mold to replace Sterling. But I mean, we replaced him just fine this season though. As I would say.
Bro, that's man. They say like, there's no way I don't see yourself replacing Sterling, whatever. Treble.
It's like replacing him as a player. The thing with Pep, he just looks at the squad that we have at the beginning of the season and then sets up the team to best go forward with that. So not having a player like Sterling, we can't play the same way how we did last season. We have
Bro,
to
you replace
change
bro.
differently because the tools different now.
Bro, you replace Sterling. You replace Sterling the same way you replace Aguero. As easily as how you replace Aguero, you replace Sterling.
And let me just defend Pep a little bit with that. When he said we cannot replace Aguero, he meant the legend, the player Aguero, not necessarily like his position on the field and like his goals. That we can replace, but like the thought of Aguero, what he brought to the team in
Bro,
general. Probably over time, if Haaland stayed the full 10 years, we are talking about an Aguero level player. But as of like at that point in time, I understood what he meant. I'm sure you understand what he mean too.
never know, bro. The man I mean say you can't replace Aguero. You can't find a player like him out. Brother,
Wow.
Pep always make these comments. Him
Yeah, a lot of people
always
don't
make these
like him.
comments. Yo, after the man get Arsenal how much 5-0? Remember last season, the man get Arsenal 5-0 and
Yes,
then
yeah,
start
man, good game.
foot. You say Arteta was a great coach, set up Arsenal played well, wherever. After them give them 5-0, bro. And then after the Lukaku miss, like when he win the Champions League, him say we won the Champions League due to a striker missing from
All
three.
right. The Lukaku thing, we'll talk about the Arsenal thing after, before we quickly wrap up. But the Lukaku thing, that was because people after the game were obviously saying, oh, Inter Milan could have win that, them did have the chances. Some people were saying Inter Milan were the better team in the final. Some people were saying, we were lucky to go on to win the game because we never really played that well. And I think that was, I mean, Pep says a lot of things that are tongue in cheek, but that was another example of that because it's basically like people are saying, oh, if Lukaku had scored that chance, it would have gotten to extra time and possibly penalties. And if that was the case, Inter Milan would have been favorites to win on penalties. So he's saying, well, I guess I'm champions of Europe because the brother I miss a header, but I'll take it.
Always you're finding some excuse for defend Pep. Pep
That's just
always
how me interpret it
comments.
still.
Pep comments always have a slick. His mouth have a slick comment.
That is true, yeah. I'm
He
gonna feel like
always
him do that to like play the media in a little bit,
bro,
and it kind of brings the focus on him and take it off of the team in a way. So I'm rated.
from '09 when Pep was manager of Barca and that famous game against Barca, after him ask him what him thoughts about the referee performance and the lack of decisions, lack of penalty decisions, Pep say he never really see the decisions, brother. Man say he never really see the
All right,
incident.
bro. This
Bro,
was
from
years ago, bro.
what that's the thing.
Let it go, fam.
It's the same thing.
You
It's the
win
same,
two Champions League since then. You can't
bro,
let it go, dog.
bro, the man is the same way. That's the same way the man stay. The man will say like clear things will go on a match. And man say like, oh, I never really saw that or whatever. Or he will say, well, if the referee gives it, then that's
So what
pressure.
I'm supposed to say, like, oh yeah,
No,
man, referee, we
here's,
have big favor right this is still respect.
here's,
Nah.
here's no. If it's against him, he won't say that, you know. If it's against him, you won't say that. But if it's for him, if
The
it's
thing
for
is,
if a decision for City,
I disagree with
we'll
that.
say, people will say, well, the referee made a decision and we have to go with the referee's decision.
I personally think he would have still said if it's a decision against us, and that is because like instead of, I think, like away from the camera, he'd be like, no, I don't like this decision and this reason, that reason. But on the camera, he has his image and he's also representing Manchester City, so he can't go out into the media and just say anything. So he's then going to say, you know what, the referee made his decision. There's nothing much we can do about it. We should have won the game, making that referee decision irrelevant. I think that's more the type of approach he'd go for the camera. But obviously, I don't necessarily think that would have been his realest thoughts. But
Mm,
on the Arsenal thing, he does that with a lot of teams actually, like where he'd say um they played well, and the scoreline is a bit embarrassing. So I can see why people would find it very funny that he said they still played well. But it's kind of just like showing respect to the team that they just played against. He's not gonna come out and say, "Oh yeah, we'll mash them up. Them never stand a chance," kind of thing. He's gonna say, "You know what? Me see what them did I try though, but this time we'll come out as the better team." And I think in that same 5-0 game, they got a red card. Xhaka did I put on a madness, and him fall. I don't remember who, but him get a red card in the first half, and then that after that moment is when we actually scored the majority of our goals. So
bro.
it's just one of them things there.
And by the way, yes, I do have his eyes because I have an extra pair. And when they show the view from the touchline, I can see what Pep sees, and he's very much closer to the touchline and the action than I am. So I can guarantee with 99% assurance that Pep saw the incidents.
All right, and on that note, heard it here from a Chelsea fan. And that's basically what we can expect to see from Kovacic next season. I can't lie, I'm a bit excited because I do know this player is coming in with a lot of experience into the team, and that's exactly what we need right now if we're going to lose a player like Gundogan. In terms of his goals, I'm sure Haaland don't mind adding Gundogan's goal tally to his. and trying to give us that next season. But there are also other players throughout the team who need to increase their goal tally. So we'll score enough goals. And as of right now, our defense is looking a bit strong, much more so than previous seasons. So I don't think necessarily we'll struggle without Gundogan in the team. Me personally, I would have wanted him to stay because Gundogan is a player I rate very highly. But it is what it is. You know, he have to take the next step for him career, and we just have to cope with what we have remaining. But Reynolds, let people them know where them can find you. And if you have any future shows or videos in plan coming up soon, let them know about that as well.
Yeah, so you can find our channel on YouTube, the JA Dugout. So it's the JA Dugout. So you can find us there. You see a lot of videos posted there, and actually planning to do a video soon reviewing Barcelona and Real Madrid season. So make sure to check us out over there and to see a endless catalog of videos.
And like I said earlier in the video, for those who weren't here, and also if you're watching on the replay, the same thing that apply if you like video, subscribe to the channel. Same thing for his channel as well. But his description is also his link to the channel is also in the description. So if you can't bother go type in the JA, which you know JA is just letters JA, and if you're that lazy, just scroll down in the description. The link is there. It's the second link. Just click it and it will bring you directly to his channel. You also might see me over there from time to time if Reynolds would have me. So definitely keep an eye out for that as well. And I should have another video coming out tomorrow. I think that is noon Eastern time in the US. So definitely check that out if you are available. And yeah, that's pretty much all we have for you today.
All right,
Until
thanks
next
for
time, my
having.
side.
All right.